I built that as a currency trader, and I positioned myself as someone who knew a little bit about that and showed people what I could do. And I built a nice company around that. And after I got done with that, I shifted gears entirely, and I started this show talking about politics and economics. And within 2 years, I had the largest libertarian podcast in America, in the world, I think, in 2 years' time. Going up against people who had been doing it since the early 2000s, since podcasting was a thing. And I built a brand, I built a reputation in a completely different industry where I knew nothing about it. So I did it 2 times. And then after that, I positioned myself again, and I'm now showcasing a lot of what I do on marketing and sales and all that, and persuasion and that kind of stuff, to try and show people, hey, if you want to do this, you can do it. And I don't say that to, please don't misunderstand. I don't say that to toot my own horn. There's a point behind all this. What I have to teach people very early on is that when you start to put yourself out there, when you start to build your personal brand and you go out online and you try and teach people what you know, or you trying to build a positive reputation for yourself, you are going to get the hell kicked out of you. I mean, people out of nowhere who don't know you, who've never bought a thing from you, who didn't even watch the video that you just posted online, will come and say the most vitriolic, most disgusting, most despicable things about you. They will write things about you online. They will spread rumors about you. And you wonder to yourself, where do these people come from? Like, they don't know anything about me. They've never bought anything I've ever sold. All they have done is just, they've decided that I'm no good because I'm in the industry I'm in, and I'm pitching myself, and I put myself out there. And you have to tell them, you're like, look, just remember one thing. I never met a hater doing better than me. Okay? Never met one. So if you got haters out there, good. It means you're doing something right. You better have people hating on you. It means somebody knows your name. If nobody's hating on you, you're not doing something right. Because when you get big, the haters get big.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns, as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA in testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant's account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In an unsettling video released over the web this week, Buddhist extremist cell Kamathana vowed to unleash a massive wave of serenity and nirvana all across the West. Members of the group threatened to implement such severe measures as tranquil chanting, meditation sessions, and eye-opening koans, and assured U.S. leaders of the group's absolute commitment to engulfing Americans in complete and unyielding enlightenment. Here now is a clip from the video.
We will not cease until every city, from New York to London, succumbs to a state of spiritual harmony. Prepare yourself.
Sources confirm that the Pentagon responded to the film by ordering immediate tactical bombings throughout Tibet. And in tech news, the inventor of the Gromdar says he's determined to put a Gromdar in every American home. In other news, a woman who had almost formed a healthy sense of self joined social media, and an area man can remember exactly where he was and what he was doing when he assassinated John F. Kennedy.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm gonna start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say!
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our Bit Plus Network satellite.
This is
The Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
That's right. It's time here for the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from our Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, and it's another beautiful day. So basically, we're joined live via remote by Mr. Tom Gray, and we've got Aria DiMezzo, the Queen of Crypto from cryptocurrencycheck.org in the studio. But we want to make sure that we don't have the same problem we had last week, where we weren't able to really get into what we wanted to get into because of spending the first segment on introductions. So we're going to discuss progressivism and its influences on all of our traditions, Muslims, Christians, atheists, et al. And we're going to do that after listening to a well-known scholar basically talk about where this is coming from and what the errors are.
I guess what we're talking here is largely those movements that are pleased to call themselves progressive Islam. We don't really have them in England very much. It seems to be an American wrinkle, for whatever reason. America gives the world all the best things. Tobacco, first thing they give us was tobacco, so what can you say? The danger of the immense sort of ontological shock of extreme Salafistic rigorism in politics, and the idea of turning the state into an inquisitorial apparatus for smacking people when they aren't perfect, is that people react strongly and spin off into any direction that is available. That's human nature. One reason for the downfall of the Mu'tazila was that they, through Al-Khalifa al-Ma'mun, for whatever reason, he liked their idea of the createdness of the Quran, maybe not really thinking what that would mean too clearly, but he thought the Quran is created, and he had Ahmad bin Hanbal arrested and tortured, and Imam Malik was smashed around because they did not accept this strange idea. And the idea of the imposition of a particular aqidah through the full inquisitorial and punitive apparatus of a state has only one certain outcome, which is that the majority of the population pretty soon will run away and want to do something else. So one of the things that's happening now is people see the spectacle of the crazy idea that the form of religion that weak humanity really needs nowadays is the most rigorous, intense, fundamentalistic one, forced down people's throats, is that people are bouncing out in directions of ultraliberalism. It's a natural human reflex. It's not a logical reaction or a spiritually beneficial reaction, but it is human nature. And one of these consequences is, well, let's see if we can deal with Islamophobia by ticking the boxes and being less hated. Let's see if we can please the West in its current social mood, and see if we can adopt some of these social fashions. Their ideas of gender, their ideas of transgender, their ideas of all kinds of new sexualities, everything that the modern package currently is. Let's see if we can show how definitely we've got nothing to do with the extremists by finding ways of being that. And that also is a psychological reaction, just as much as the fundamentalist reaction is psychological. Everything nowadays is reactive to the fact of Western power. Nothing is able to ignore that. So the two reactions are either beat them or join them. Beating them is not really working too well. They tend just to beat up on other Muslims 90% of the time, while the kuffar just kind of watch this spectacle of a civilization self-destructing. And the other possibility, which is joining them, well, let's find some little cozy way of being in Islam, but still pleasing to the current value set of whoever is on Fox News. That's also easy to interpret psychologically as the reflex of people who feel that they're defeated, like the native populations overrun by European colonialism in the 19th century, who ended up having very English houses and pictures of Queen Victoria on the mantelpiece, and being very sure that they sent their children to Oxford or Sandhurst and becoming more English than the English themselves, or more French than the French themselves, because they felt themselves as defeated. If you can't beat them, join them. And a lot of the Muslim elites now are kind of like that. Very boring conversations about how Western they are and how primitive their own populations are. A very unattractive elite by and large, which accounts for much of the vehemence and the vengefulness of the insurgency that reacts against that. But the progressive Islam movement is something similar. It's a determination to be reassuringly patted on the head by the white man, to be approved of, no longer to be the whipping boy for the West's ideologues, the feminists, the new sexuality advocates, all of these new things that are out there, but just for a moment to be free of that endless bombardment of disapproving critique and somehow to be at rest from that. So we have these movements, and the movements generally are indifferent to the traditional Islam model, which is that authenticity comes through the respect for the cumulative discussion of the Ummah, and that sometimes it can take a long time before issues are fully apprehended and discussed and resolved, particularly if they're complex and the Ummah is in disarray. Sometimes we need to be patient. Sometimes we need to be at ease with our disunity and recognize it as the inevitable reality of a multiplex Ummah dealing with categorically new and strange problems. We shouldn't be too disappointed by the ulama if they don't give us an immediate and unanimous source of guidance on every new thing that comes up. But these progressive Muslims generally will say, well, the Usul al-Fiqh is a cultural production of a particular kind of Abbasid world, and we inhabit a different world. We're going to read the scriptures differently on the basis of what we think is a proper contemporary consciousness. And very often this overlaps with the fundamentalist view. That the fundamentalist view tends to take Ibn Taymiyyah's assumption that the ulama, even in their consensus, not necessarily right, and that the ordinary simple believer through his fitrah is more likely to be right. The idea of the fitrah is a kind of Protestant principle in Ibn Taymiyyah that's very influential, but of course very subversive, potentially, because somebody's fitrah is not the same as your fitrah. If you've been under Israeli bombardment for 10 years, your fitrah may be different from the fitrah of somebody like me living comfortably in Cambridge, where the obvious meaning of the text may well be another kind of obviousness. So this idea of fitrah is something that underpins a lot of the aberrations of the age, which is why, for instance, in Brunei, where they're really trying to keep out any kind of reformist subversion, because it's a small country and it's working well.
All right, we'll be back with a discussion of progressivism and its influences on multiple different traditions when we get back here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. Survivalspeech.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And, we've sparked a discussion. If you want to get involved, give us a call, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Joined live via remote today by Mr. Tom Gray, along with Miss Aria DiMezzo. Now, everybody knows, of course, I'm here. I'm Will Coley. I'm the Muslim Perspective. Tom Gray is Christian Evangelical Perspective. And, of course, Aria is our atheist perspective. So, Tom, we'll start with you.
Am I really the right one to start with? Because my response is going to be a whole lot different from yours.
That's okay.
When it comes to
how is this basically? How is this happening in your own community? How it happens in my community is like easy to see. There are groups that have allied themselves with the left, and because of that, they are. That's influencing the community in general because the voices that speak for our community are being influenced by the left.
Sure, and I think the big difference, especially when it comes to the West, is where our different faiths kind of sit in the overall power structure. Because you see, with Christianity, what we've got that Islam doesn't have so much in the West is that we are the power structure. Any way you shape it. And
cultural supremacy, basically.
Yeah, for 2 millennia. So we have a large representation of, I don't want to call it the conservative viewpoint, really the power-hungry viewpoint, the oppressive viewpoint, the viewpoint that says we should be imposing our will on people, the viewpoints that say we should be intolerant of ways of living other than mainline Christianity. We have those loud voices, so the influence of progressivism has just as often been a moderating influence on us. Probably the best example, especially when it comes to like the largest congregation of Western Christendom, Catholicism, was the councils of the 1960s, where the Catholic Church was quote unquote liberalized, but their form of liberalizing then was basically to allow the services to happen in people's native tongues instead of just in Latin, and to allow forms of worship other than the same monastery chants that have been around since the 1300s. When you look at other influences of progressivism on Christianity, it's things like, well, maybe we shouldn't be writing state laws that actively persecute other faiths and other lifestyles. Now
so basically, Christianity had to liberalize to get to the level of liberalism that Islam has built into it.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind that when the great
Christianity was born of the state.
True.
Western
Christianity, yes, was born of the state. That is correct.
Yeah, Semitic Christianity was explicitly anarchist. In a originalist Christianity was
the Essenes and groups like that.
Yeah, and where Christianity really took off,
that's why I want to get on the show. I want to get an expert in the Essenes, somebody that's written a book about the Essenes, because that's like my favorite part of Christian history.
Yeah, where you had
those
what was
early
his name? The guy,
communities.
The guy who literally sat up on the pole and refused and like fasted for months on end, and people would pass him up like pieces of grain so that he wouldn't die. People, the monks who literally lived out in the caves, those sorts of things. Those kind of went away with Constantine when people realized, hey, you can have Christianity and also live in lavish palaces and be the king of the Roman Empire.
Well, that and the fact that the Romans hunted them down and murdered them in mass.
Yeah, we had a whole lot of that in our early history. But like Aria said, the Western Christian experience now, for more of our history, has been the statist experience and the experience where we are the power structures. But you mentioned the progressive influence being what moderated Christianity. While Islam was going through its high scholarly period, we were waging literal barbaric feudal wars in Christendom, and it was
while Rumi was writing poetry, the Western Christendom was burning the
atheists.
Well, no, they weren't even atheists. In France, what was the name of that? There was a group.
The Gauls, the native Gauls.
No, there was a Christian group that they were a very peaceful, passive version of Christianity, and the church just came in and murdered them out of existence.
Yeah, there were a lot of those. I mean, in Spain, You had, of course, the Inquisitions.
Well, this was the French Inquisition.
But I think the point that Tom is getting at is that those sins, as we might like to call them, are not the fault of Christianity, but the state usurping Christianity for its own ends.
Right. And at the same time, because of the deep state influence, when you've had progressive influence on Christianity, there's been the pendulum effect. In the West, what you might call the conservative side of Islam has already been oppressed plenty by the majority Christians, and also by the stigmatism of what conservative Islam is perceived to be by Christians. Whereas in Christianity itself, we're perfectly willing to elevate, people who actively preach hate against other groups. Now, we do have some problematic liberalism in Christianity. People who want to reinterpret the Bible to say things are acceptable that are not acceptable. People who want to blame the Bible and Christ himself for the sins of men, and particularly the sins of the state. And that's where progressivism goes off the rail with us. But we have plenty of loud conservative voices actively working to silence that form of progressivism. So there's a lot more internal conflict. And there's definitely not any sort of pressure on Christians to liberalize in order to try to fit in. There's plenty of niches where hardcore conservative Christians can fit in without accepting any sort of tolerance from the progressive viewpoint.
All right, well, when we get back here, we'll continue on with this discussion of progressivism and its influences on, well, basically everybody. I mean, you've got atheism with influence, Christians with an influence,
well,
Jews with an influence.
Atheism is largely responsible for it.
That can be argued as well. We'll talk about it when we get back here on The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
My colors, they change with the sun. My branches were higher than...
Catch The Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN-FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from our Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, and it's another beautiful day here in the Shire. I've been pouring. Oh my God, it's like the rain that only wants to come down when you're standing outside.
Yeah,
it has been. It's been so annoying. It may just make you want to put your head right through a wall all day today. Every time we walked out of a building, as soon as we went in, it would stop.
As soon as we walked in here, sun came out.
Yeah.
As soon as we go back out,
it'll be raining again.
Yeah.
So we joined in the studio today by Ariana Mezzo, along with Tom Gray, live via remote. And we've been talking about progressivism and its influence on multiple traditions. Aria, you're next. So what do you think?
Well, I would say that atheism as a whole generally falls into two camps, those who are humble and those who are not. Progressive atheism, because there is this huge correlation between progressivism and atheism, is born of arrogance and human conceit. It comes back to that idea that, if you don't believe in a God, you must worship the self. Well, for them, it's largely true because they lack humility. In their minds, they're geniuses. They're superior to everyone else, intellectually, ethically, culturally. And that sort of belief, that perceived superiority, directly breeds oppression. Because they believe themselves to be superior to everyone else, it becomes a sense of responsibility for them to force that onto everyone else, whether they like it or not.
Kind of like what Abdul Hakim Murad said yesterday about if the atheist is right, then everything that they say about how horrible, then the white man is right, because everything the West says then is correct about every society that's not the atheist West.
But I would say they're not atheists. They're selfists. They worship the self. Because I would say that proper atheism, as a result of the scientific lens through which the atheist generally views reality, will cause an extreme amount of humility simply by recognizing the enormity of one single galaxy and the hundreds of billions of stars our galaxy alone contains, and recognizing that there are hundreds of billions of galaxies, and how utterly and absolutely human beings are insignificant in relation to that. How can you be arrogant in the face of the enormity of the universe? How can you come to the belief that you are superior to anything or anyone when you are so minuscule, so tiny, and so insignificant? And it doesn't require any sort of belief in the metaphysical or the spiritual or anything like that to simply look at the freaking stars and say, oh my God, I am less than the smallest insect.
It's funny that you say, you use the term selfism and like the worship of the self, because if you look into the eschatological texts of Western religions, that value system arising in human society is exactly what is predicted. In the book of Timothy, it says that men will be lovers of themselves more than lovers of God.
Well, and I believe that, and I don't have any
ungrateful.
I don't necessarily
we live in a
see
culture
it as a
built
prophecy being fulfilled, because I just recognize that as a key feature of human arrogance that's always been there, and it's just now finding expression.
Okay.
But the core arrogance of humanity, I mean, it's been there in the earliest religious texts in the Torah. Well, yeah. That's not the earliest religious text, obviously, but I mean, in Western tradition, because God created man and then put them, even though we know that we're not the center of the universe, from any sort of theological perspective, we are the center of God's universe. He created this universe for us and put us here and gave us all of these gifts. So we're this key central aspect of the creator of the universe's entire universe.
I went and looked up the verse I was talking about, and it continues. Hear this. Understand this. In the last days, there will be terrible times. Men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, without love of good, traitorous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power. Turn away from such as these.
And I would agree, turn away from them. But that's...
And the Islamic tradition has a
humanity
similar
and not atheism.
Has a similar. Well, I'm not saying it's even
Right.
atheism. It's just that's what it's saying is that it's not differentiating.
But I mean, what you just described there is progressivism in a nutshell.
Yeah.
They have no forgiveness. for
No,
anyone.
God, you can never.
They have no love for anyone.
We saw with Paula Deen. She said something racist 25 years ago. Well, it doesn't matter. There is no forgiveness. You can never grow.
Well, I mean, even much less major things. They're incapable of forgiveness because they, for such a long period of time, confused justice with vengeance. Yeah. And so to them, that's what the forgiveness doesn't interplay into any of that. It's just this separate thing that they ignore.
Our society thrives on vengeance, I think. We relish in it.
Yeah. Oh, we enjoy it.
We do.
It scratches that itch. We go, oh, but the victim got justice. No, the victim didn't.
No, the victim got nothing.
The victim got to watch the assailant be punished, but what did that really do for the victim? It didn't bring any emotional closure.
No.
It didn't bring anything that any sane, rational person would call
But
justice.
it did show how much we're willing to empower the state.
And it shows how petty we are.
Yeah.
Because we care more about punishing that person than we do about forgiving them,
Tom,
and healing ourselves.
It's been a while since I've studied Christianity. Is there anything in Christianity that talks about that concept? Not forgiveness, but not enjoying watching the suffering of others. In the Hadith traditions, the Prophet ﷺ is quoted as, expressing the fact that it's not becoming of a believer to kind of get off on watching the bad guy hurt.
Well, the Romans basically beat off to watching Jesus be tortured, so I would assume that Christianity does have a sentiment of that.
I'm sure that there are verses about it. Most of the ones that are coming to mind have to do with actively alleviating suffering as opposed to just not enjoying it. But I think what you're getting at is more the be better than the person who wrongs you, and that's definitely in Christianity.
Well, just that Schadenfreude is sinful, basically.
I don't know that Schadenfreude shows up that much in the Bible because the punishments that were enacted upon people, especially particularly in the Old Testament, by the Jewish state were said to come from God, and it was firmly established that God didn't like having to do it.
Yeah,
I've got a passage here from the Bible about it.
Yeah, these punishments that are coming from God are for kind of your benefit because you're fallen and sinful.
Yeah,
I'm kind of upset that you're making me do this. Is what you get from the Bible as far as that goes.
All right, well, we'll get back into this conversation of progressivism and its influence on multiple views when we get back here on the Call to Freedom.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was
kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We're broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, and we've been talking about progressivism and how it influences, all of our traditions here. You know, I'm Muslim, Tom's Christian, Aria's atheist. Unfortunately, we weren't able to scare up a Jew for the show, but progressivism has a massive influence on all of our communities.
Well, I don't know about that. That's what I was just thinking about. Both Islam and Christianity, and I'm sure Judaism as well, refer to progressivism as sort of an external influence that is influencing it from the outside, or that is influencing its believers from the outside.
Not American Judaism. Not American Judaism.
I think that atheism as a whole is largely responsible, and it's not just progressives who are influencing your faiths, but progressive atheists who are responsible for it. Because I'm not aware of very many genuine progressives that are religious. I mean, almost all of the ones that I've ever spoken with, I mean, it's just a given. They're atheists.
I know a lot of progressives that are religious.
Really?
Lots of them. I'm Muslim. 85% of my community will.
Okay, fair enough. But
say
that's
they
part
are
of the
progressive.
victim complex thing
Yeah.
that progressives have caused.
Yeah.
And that whole let's play identity politics.
Yeah. But because of the like, I want to be accepted, therefore I will replace, you know, as like Abdul Hakim Murad said, while I fight against those who think that they have a right to pat me on the head by going and seeing if another group will pat me on the head, you know, like those terrible conservatives, they want me to live and act in a way that will just please them, and I'll show them by doing the exact same thing for the left because they say nice things before they drop the bombs.
I mean, which is interesting because it seems like the core of Islam, like Christianity, is largely what we would call socially conservative.
Socially conservative, but anti-government.
Right. Well, which is why I said socially conservative rather than just conservative.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, liberals are not anti-government either, and that is the history of the word.
You saw the brother that was here yesterday, the Dr. Zachariah Wright, saying, you know, that, you know, that tradition is gone in the Arab world and Asia and all over.
And
but
in
West
Christendom.
In West Africa, though, that distrust of the state, that tribalist, nearly anarchist, viewpoint still is there. So you still have, and what did he call it? Traditionalist. Not modernist, not new age, not any of those. No, traditionalist views are anti-government.
Well, I would say it's because that same arrogance has infected modern religions as well. So I would say that the progressive religious believers are probably not even genuine religious believers. They may think they are.
One of the things I talk about quite often, and I'm not the only one, the only khatib to do so, the only Muslim pastor, so to speak. Imam just really isn't the right term because that's just anybody that's leading the prayer.
Okay.
Khatib is the right word, but nobody understands what I'm saying when I say that. But say over and over again, like there's nothing special about being Muslim. There really isn't. You are not some special creature simply because you say La ilaha illallah. That doesn't make you special. What you do, that's what makes you exceptional.
Speaking of that, there's this entirely new age thing of indigo children and all kinds of crap like that, where these people who are completely ordinary, completely mundane, nothing special about them right now, are absolutely out of control in regard to their arrogance. So no matter how worthless they are, no matter what terrible people they are, because I've seen them do some horrifically terrible things to other human beings, it doesn't matter because they've convinced themselves that they're part of this spiritual, mystical group that somebody just freaking made up out of nowhere in the last 10 or 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That, well, it doesn't matter that I'm an unemployed, worthless drag on society without a college degree. I'm an indigo child. I'm chosen.
Yeah.
And, it's what Rosetta Stone, the Tool song, is about, is that exact mentality. That's why they reference the color indigo so many times through that album. And it's because of those indigo children who are just useless high school dropouts more often than not. And they just think they're so special because they're consumed by that arrogance.
Whoever just called, please call back. I wasn't paying attention to the board. It doesn't ring. The phone doesn't ring for us. It's just a little tiny red light that blinks. And if I'm looking at you while you're talking, instead of looking at the board, I look back and I see red light, red light. Oh, and then, that too. But anyway, yeah. So if you were just calling, please do call back. Indigo children. That's.
Oh, it's nuts, man. It's completely nuts. I mean, they have this belief that they're from another dimension and that they chose to exist on Earth because it's difficult.
Wow.
Yeah, it's totally nuts, man.
Muslims have this idea that like because of like the concept of like the last prophet and and all that kind of thing, the seal of Nubuwwah and all that kind of stuff, that simply being Muslim is all that is necessary for you to be like preferred. But it's like a chosen people kind of mentality.
Which exists both for Jews and for white people as well, with Manifest Destiny and Manifest Destiny 2.0, which is going on today with the whole victim culture. Hey, you play identity politics and we'll protect you.
Well, we also see it in the black community as well, because you have Nation of Islam is a black supremacy religious viewpoint. Then you also have, I don't know what they're called, like the Black Israelites or something like that, but and I know in Orlando, they wear white robes and they stand downtown and they chant about how Arabs are bad and demons and white people are actually demons and only black, brown, and Native American people are really people. And like, right? He's even like, what?
I mean, it's just amazing
but they chant this.
That
you
people
see
will
them
just
in cities.
make up to justify this idea that I'm special.
I'm special. Yeah, I'm special. I remind our congregation all the time, just saying you're Muslim doesn't make you anything special. Go out and do a good work. Go help somebody. Go feed somebody. Go become somebody. That's what makes you special.
Yeah.
Go study. Become an academic. Become a scholar. Become a sheikh. Become a faqih. That makes you special. Doing things. Actions. The things you do. Just because you say, oh, well, وَأَشْهَدُ إِلَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. Boom, I'm special. No, bro, it takes more than saying 2 sentences in Arabic for you to be preferred by God or by humanity in general or the universe or however you want to put it.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been my criticism of the Indigo Children as well. It's not your self-perception that makes you special. It's your actions.
Tom, how does this relate to like the once saved, always saved crowd?
I don't know that it does relate, because what Christianity would say is that every human is God's special creation. It's just a matter of whether or not you have accepted, the salvation gift that he's given and the opportunity to dwell with him forever. So we go the opposite way. You do good things because of what God has done for you. You're special either way, but you should do good works out of appreciation for God's, specifically the gift of salvation, but for all of the bounties that God has blessed you with. Basically, you do good because God is good, not because you are good, and not because it'll get you any special favor.
Interesting.
So it's a different thing from, once saved, always saved is a whole other aspect of Christian philosophy. But it definitely does differ.
Well, I don't know that it's different at all. I mean, it sounds like it's kind of the same. I mean, if you accept the idea that once saved, always saved, and that good works are something you do because, God is good, then you're not required by any part of the theology to actually be a good person.
Right. In fact, it's impossible to under Christian theology. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good from human perspective, not
I've
necessarily
used
God's
that verse.
perspective.
Right.
I've used that verse in a khutbah that he just quoted, giving a sermon to a room full of Muslims. That all have sinned. And do what?
Cool beans.
Yeah. Anyway, when we get back here, it'll be time for the Crypto Hour, so don't go anywhere.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking undertaking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA and testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant's account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shoppers at a Hannaford supermarket could only speculate that the middle-aged woman angrily demanding a price check on a pack of rice pudding was once a carefree youth.
I don't care what it says on your screen. You know, this is why people go to the store across the street, because of the way they're treated here. You know, nobody likes it here.
Those watching the woman angrily asking for a manager over a $1.20 price difference imagined that the woman was once a fresh-faced college graduate, too spirited and fun-loving to throw a bitter tantrum in front of a room of complete strangers.
She was probably once just some freewheeling college kid, you know? Her biggest concern was which one of her friends she was going to hang out with at night and whether they were going to meet at the movies or a bonfire on the beach. Now look at her. You know, I'll bet if you'd have told her 10 or 15 years ago that one day she'd be ripping into a grocery store clerk with a room full of strangers staring at her, she'd have been horrified. It's fast.
In other news, a few years in the military would have really straightened out a troubled teen killed in Afghanistan, and a man on the verge of self-realization instead turns to God.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hodul. Hodul.
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by motionproject.org here on the Call to Freedom.
That's right. It's time for the Call to Freedom's Crypto Hour, brought to you by the motionproject.org. We're going to be talking about T0 today.
And what is T0?
T0 is Overstock.com CEO Patrick Burns' little crypto project.
Why didn't I quit the last time I said I quit? Of course, Overstock.com CEO has a crypto project.
Well, as of August 6th, 2018, as of the August 6th, 2018 closing of its $250 million crypto security token offering, T0 will become the global crypto infrastructure industry's de facto leader. The price of its token and the share price of Overstock.com are both up. Its parent company, they will continue to multiply by 2021. This is not a function of luck. This is because Overstock.com and T0 had the vision to anticipate the need for regulated crypto infrastructure. T0 began in October of 2017 to build an alternative trading system that's dedicated to crypto security tokens. The following are my predictions for T0. The T0 preferred equity token will be recognized as the Bitcoin of crypto security tokens by 2019. T0 will become the NYSE.
Good Lord, does he know how soon 2019 is?
Right. T0.
It's like 6 months. I'll have a third kid by then.
T0 Inc. will become the New York Stock Exchange for the trading of crypto security tokens. The company will be recognized as a unicorn company and valued by more than $1 billion within its first 12 months. The price of token will increase from $10 to a minimum of $100 in 2019. By 2025, the aggregate value of T0 and its outstanding tokens will be $50 billion, and by 2030, $100 billion. My predictions are based on the following. A. T0 is the first mover. T0 is a first mover in crypto infrastructure, which will become the world's biggest digital industry by 2030.
Okay, can he quit asserting that and explain why he's asserting that?
For more about the first movers, view the video about them at the bottom of this report. B. Crypto security
So
tokens.
that would be a no.
Yeah.
That's a watch this video if you want to know what I'm talking about.
The aggregate market cap of crypto security tokens will be substantially higher than the aggregate market cap of cryptocurrencies by 2020. More than 90% of the 1,300 ICOs from the inception through the end of 2017 were actually crypto security tokens in disguise.
And how many of them no longer exist?
In August September, T0 will be the first and only regulated exchange wherein all these crypto tokens, security tokens, can legally be traded. US-based Coinbase is considered to be the US cryptocurrency exchange. However, it does not have a license to transact crypto security tokens, and it supports only 4 of the existing cryptocurrencies. T0 does not plan to support regular cryptocurrencies.
They're adding Ethereum Classic, and they're looking at adding 10 others.
C. The existing ecosystem is antiquated. The aggregate market cap of crypto token security will exceed the aggregate market cap of all global equities by 2030. Blockchain will replace the antiquated ecosystem of paper shares and transfer agents, a system which has been in place since the beginning of time. D. Desperate need for crypto infrastructure. The crypto community desperately needs regulated infrastructure.
Oh my God, no, we don't.
From 2009 through 2016, crypto was able to capture innovators. This accomplishment met the first requirement for any new product or technology to gain acceptance vis-a-vis the product adoption cycle. In 2017, crypto began to gain acceptance with early adopters. However, the acceptance has now reached a chasm. This challenge was caused by the need for regulation born of crypto fraud and hacking of unregulated crypto exchanges.
Okay, no. That is one solution to the problem of unregulated exchanges and fraud ICOs. It's not a good solution, and it won't work. And, 200 years of American history prove that. But hey, he's not wrong. There are a lot of fraud ICOs and a lot of hacked exchanges, but no amount of government is going to fix that, ever. All it's going to do is stifle the innovation and the ingenuity that he was just referring to, because that is what regulation does.
Wait, though. D. A desperate need for crypto infrastructure. The crypto community desperately needs regulated infrastructure.
Oh, I know. I said, no, we don't. I mean, that's the last thing we need. That's the last thing any growing industry needs, is for government to come and say, no, you're doing this wrong. You need to do it this way. How in the hell is that supposed to help anything?
The crypto Wild West.
I mean, which is partially true, because the Wild West was not actually very wild, and neither is crypto. We just have a lot of stupid people who don't look into things before pouring money into it. And again, government's not going to be able to fix that.
Yeah. Well, that's just, what was it? Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
Remember those? And people poured so much money into like stuff I pick up at yard sales for here, just take it
for $300-400.
Just take it and get it out of my house. My kid sees it and they're like, "Oh, I like it," and they're like, "Please, just take it."
I mean, it won't be pretty, but these are all problems that will fix themselves. We didn't need regulation to keep people from making crappy Atari 2600 games. The problem fixed itself.
Yeah.
And so will the crypto problem.
ET didn't really fix itself.
No, it caused the collapse that ended up resulting in the industry fixing itself.
True. And you haven't seen a game like ET since, now have you?
Yes, you have.
Google Retribution Ride to Hell.
Well, that sounds like it's intentionally.
No, it's not. It was made by Deep Silver, the same people who made Homefront: The Revolution, which is equally bad, but for entirely different reasons. I mean, Ride to Hell Retribution is so bad that it's legitimately offensive. And I don't say that lightly. It is legitimately offensive.
I've what's the name of it? Outer Space Boxing on regular Nintendo. It's the worst boxing game I've ever played in my life. I think every genre has one real big stinker that's like, I can't believe I paid $35 for this.
Right.
You bring it home and you're like, why?
But see, that whole problem is what caused Nintendo to say, okay, well, we're only going to license video game developers to release 5 games a year. And that will guarantee that they're releasing only quality games and putting a sufficient amount of time into them, which in turn caused people like Tengen and others to bootleg NES games, and which caused lawsuits and its own problems. But in general, it worked, and there was only one pirate game for the Super Nintendo because they locked down the lockdown, actually, and the industry was allowed to thrive without any sort of government regulation, and it fixed its own problems.
All right, well, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, we're going to continue on. We've got a story here about, well, what was it? Oh, yeah, Waves Decentralized Exchange. And it's good luck.
It is making waves.
And bad luck when we get back here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Hey, everybody, my name is Carlos Matos, and I am coming from New York City, New York. Let me tell you guys that I am so excited, I am so happy, I am really so thrilled to be right now sharing this amazing, glorious, super, and exciting moment of my life with all of you guys.
All right, welcome back here to the Cult of Freedom here on LRN.FM. We're broadcasting live from the ZenCast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, and it's it's a beautiful day here in the Shire. The sun is finally out, this story about waves. Yeah, oh my goodness, Tom, did you see it in the show prep that we put when I posted it there on Discord? No. Oh Lord.
I'm gonna go check it.
So,
read it.
Waves is supposed to be a decentralized exchange. Remember, we talked about decentralized exchanges yesterday. It had a $6 million debut.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then it was
got hacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the one that got hacked. Well, see, when a decentralized cryptocurrency exchange supports fiat tokens and courts banks, yet makes customer identification optional, all bets are off. According to data provided to CoinDesk by the blockchain project Waves, the company's new decentralized exchange was facilitating $6 million of crypto transactions a day at the end of its beta testing last month. Well, that's 6 times the daily volume that its rival DEX AirSwap boasted at its debut in April. Waves, which is incorporated in Switzerland but headquartered in Russia, told CoinDesk its DEX. Oh, well, there's your first big red flag. Told CoinDesk that its DEX had 90,000 traders using 330,000 wallets ahead of its full launch this week, dwarfing the comparable figures of other DEXs. Well, there's a few reasons for this impressive performance coming out of the gate. One is speed, courtesy of the platform's centralized matchmaking service, highlighting the contradictions inherent in so-called DEXs which have a way to go before they actually live up to their name.
I mean, didn't we decide the other day that it's simply impossible for a person to intentionally create something that's decentralized?
Yeah.
Because the act of creating it is a centralized one?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a few reasons for this impressive... another factor is almost any trader can issue a token on Wave's unique blockchain, even one that represents an IOU in fiat currency, and instantly trade it for Bitcoin on the exchange.
Nice.
That's a bad idea.
It's a good idea.
A terrible idea.
It's a bad idea for the other person.
For real.
Look into the tokens that you're getting before accepting them as payment.
That's wow.
Sure, I'll accept IOU token. I mean, you could do the same thing on Ethereum. I mean, really.
Not least of all among its attractions for traders, standard Know Your Customer ID checks are optional in this marketplace, except in very specific circumstances. But the rollout hasn't been all rainbows. Tuesday, when Waves officially ended the year-and-a-half-long beta period and launched the full DEX, hackers hijacked both the exchange website and the company's main site to fish for users' personal wallet information. Took hours for Waves to get its site back online after restoring access to their DNS servers. Someone just faked my password and gave it to support staff at the domain company, and they changed the password at his request. Wow! Then the attacker was able to change the main website. So could I just call
a new domain host?
Can I just call the domain host for Coinbase and be like, so hey, I need to change my password?
Well, not if you have a good web host or a good
What's your name?
Domain registrar.
My name is Carlos Matos.
I'm here from New York City.
I need to change my password
to BitConnect. Says we're looking for let's see here, undaunted by the incident or by the criticism of Wave's security practices.
Undaunted is a synonym in this case for oblivious.
Ivanov told CoinDesk that he hopes even banks will start launching currencies on his DEX.
What? Why would he want that?
I don't know. We're looking for it says we're looking for partnerships with major banks because we hope major banks will want to issue their own fiat tokens.
Yeah, and they might, but not on an exchange that gets hacked the day it goes live.
No.
Because they didn't set up any sort of security with their web host or their domain registrar.
Oh my God. I can't believe that he's got the cojones to be like, no, I'm good. We're going to do this, and we're just going to keep doing the thing, and it's going to be straight. And I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, it does sound like Carlos Matos, and
it does.
Perhaps this guy is just trying to convince banks to do business with him so that he can steal the customer data of those banks.
Are we certain he's not Carlos Matos?
Are we sure he's not the one that's launching the phishing scams?
Right.
Oh, all right. There you go. You hear it right now. That leaky water. It means it's time for the motion faucet. Give us a call, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 for your opportunity to get 10 free coins from the motionproject.org. Or you can hit us on our Discord at discord.lrn.fm or hit us up on the LRN.FM studio line via Skype. Give us a call, 603-283-6160 for free XMN. Brought to you by Motion Project at motionproject.org. So, this it really couldn't be funnier. I mean, they were like AirSwap. They're like, oh, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. We've got all this good stuff. We want the banks and everybody, and we're going to be involved with all the goody good.
I really want to get rid of my AirSwap tokens.
I'm just all they're really missing is, and Visa supports what we're doing, and a what do you call it? A celebrity endorser.
Well, McAfee will sell his.
Just pay him enough.
Yeah. I don't even think it's that much if some of these scam coins are doing it. And I mean, hey, you've got the scam coin thing down pat so far.
I heard it's like 100,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I would probably promote them for 100,000.
Right? Right now. All right. Well, we'll be back here with more of the Call to Freedom's Crypto Hour, brought to you by the motionproject.org on the other side of this break here. But don't forget, we've got 10 free motion coins up for grabs. Give us a call at 603-283-6160 to claim them. We'll be right back here with a Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM.
Like most married couples, Dale and Barbara Patterson like to shake things up from time to time. The couple of 12 years says they've been able to keep their relationship spontaneous and interesting by bickering in all sorts of different positions and even different rooms.
There was a while there when our petty nitpicking got pretty predictable. Dale would finish harping on some stupid bullshit first, and before I had time to get a word in, he would just let out a groan, roll over, and fall asleep. Now he really takes his time ripping me a new one over every little thing.
Maybe we'll just pounce on each other the second we get home from work in the evening. And then just go right back at it in the morning. I mean, sometimes we'll look at each other directly in the eyes when we're having an argument. Other times she turns her back on me and I just scream at her from behind.
We're not exactly shy about doing it in public anymore. Dale gets pretty worked up when there are people around who could be watching or listening.
Still can't believe you forgot
Not now.
Oh, come on.
I said not now.
Oh,
what?
Don't even.
Don't even what? I asked.
This is the Onion News Network.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.fm पे।
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from our Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And we are in the middle of our crypto hour. It's brought to you by the Motion Project over at motionproject.org. Go there and put your ideas into motion. And, well, we are continuing on as we like to talk and keep everybody as far abreast of local and state laws and regulations as we can. Let you know that South Carolina has ended its cease and desist orders against crypto startups. South Carolina's securities regulator has ended the cease and desist orders against 2 blockchain startups, public documents revealed today. South Carolina Attorney General's office, which oversees security regulations in the state, published 2 orders explaining that a cease and desist filed against blockchain startup ShipChain in May was vacated, and another complaint filed against the mining firm Genesis Mining in March removed the company as a respondent. The move marks the first time such orders were dropped against blockchain startups within the state. The regulator had claimed that ShipChain's tokens and Genesis Mining's mining contracts were both unregistered securities. ShipChain pushed back against this claim in May, saying in a statement that the firm did not believe its tokens are securities. Furthermore, ShipChain claimed it was unaware that South Carolina residents could purchase its SHIP tokens. On Thursday, Deputy Securities Commission Tracy Myers wrote that the Securities Division of the Office of the Attorney General of the state of South Carolina, after receiving information regarding matters detailed in the administrative order to cease and desist issued, upon due consideration of such information which finds good cause, they cut out a huge section of it, put 3 dots. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me either. Tom, I know Tom's over there like, what the hell is he reading?
Always. I'm always like that.
Upon due consideration of such information, finds good cause has been shown to vacate the order. Similarly, Genesis Mining was dismissed from its own cease and desist order. Swiss Gold Global, which was never charged with acting as an unregistered broker-dealer for Genesis Mining at the same time, was not dismissed from the order.
It's all very confusing.
Yeah, Tom. So if Genesis Mining was dismissed from the cease and desist order, why was Swiss Global not?
Because you can have multiple parties to a cease and desist order. And because they're separate entities.
Well, I was under the impression that what you read, that the first one, the main
Genesis Mining
had had requested the cease and desist be delivered to the other one.
No.
And it was a regulatory body in South Carolina that was handing out cease and desist to Genesis.
No, there were 2 regulatory bodies. One Ship Chain, one Genesis Mining. Ship Chain and Genesis Mining were released from cease and desist. Genesis Mining can continue to do what it does, but the company that sold their mining contracts can't do what it does. So is that basically the way of effectively stopping Genesis Mining without saying that they can't do business, Tom?
Yeah. Stopping them from doing a specific thing, yeah. In theory, they can keep doing other stuff, but in practice, yeah. We don't care much about practice in law, though.
I mean, they probably shouldn't be selling mining contracts in the first place. And I don't say that to justify any sort of regulation, but it's a shady practice. I wouldn't want to get involved with it. I mean, because it is a pyramid sounding sort of thing. You give us this money and we'll get you a return on it from mining 6 months from now. And it's like, okay, or I could just buy crypto and hold it for 6 months.
Right. With the same amount of money.
Yeah, and not have to worry about you running off with it.
Yeah. Well, the original cease and desist order stated, at all times relevant to this order, respondent Genesis Mining continuously offered investment opportunities in mining contracts to South Carolina residents through its website. At no time relevant to the events stated herein was respondent Swiss Gold Global registered with the division as a broker-dealer, and no exemption from registration has been claimed by respondent Swiss Gold Global. It says, through the contracts, buyers essentially purchase an amount of computing power over a period of time that's hosted elsewhere, as opposed to owning mining hardware themselves. In the Commission's view, they, quote, constitute investment contracts and are thus securities. Is there... Really?
I don't know.
Can a regulatory commission just make up laws like that, Tom?
Yeah, that's why generally we hate regulatory commissions.
Oh, okay.
They're empowered to, quote unquote, interpret things. They're empowered to do the kind of rulemaking that we usually reserve for, elected legislators. That's why they're infuriating.
Indeed.
Well, I've got a copy of the full cease and desist order I can send you, Tom, so you can be a more informed.
Yeah, because right now I'm just trying to process it all orally, something that I would normally sit down and read and outline it.
There you go. I just sent it to you.
All right, then.
So basically, that's what it looks like. What happened here is they've decided, like Genesis Mining, you can still do what you're doing. You just can't sell your service anymore, unless they sell it themselves, I guess. But if they sell it themselves, then they become a broker.
Yeah. It's not good. It's always bad when the government gets involved with something, but good. Genesis Mining can go back to just mining and making their money that way instead of making it by selling snake oil to broke people who have $500 to invest in something, which isn't enough to buy an ASIC, not by any means, or to get any sort of decent mining going. I mean, it is sort of predatory, and
I just want to mine to heat the house.
But yeah,
I just want to mine to heat the house.
Yeah,
even if like my total losses are like $24 a month, but I make enough to pay the bill, minus $24 or $28 a month. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and plus you get to skip out on the heating bill.
Exactly, which is like $600 a month. So it makes things a lot easier. But anyway, so when we get back here, we're going to continue on with this story. We've got Tom, our legal mind, taking a look over all of the necessary legal documents. And then we may possibly be moving on to another story about another crypto project that we keep hearing is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, going...
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be. I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from our Zencash studio right over here in Keene, New Hampshire, and we have been discussing this case, the cease and desist order in South Carolina, which was recently dropped against Genesis Mining and Shipcoin. And we've got, thank goodness, Tom Gray around to take a look at the paperwork and go, I know what I'm talking about here, and none of the rest of them do. So, Tom, what's going on?
Yeah, it looks like basically they never had solid allegations against Genesis Mining itself in the first place. Most of the allegations that are actually in the cease and desist order have to do with the Swiss Gold Global as the broker-dealer. The only thing they even allege that Genesis Mining did is computer work. Not even computer work in the state, computational efforts, quote-unquote. Whereas the actual administration of the contracts is through this Swiss Gold Global. So that would explain why they weren't able to keep things up against Genesis Mining specifically. What I'm not seeing here, and maybe this is what we're getting caught up on now. I mean, what you've sent me is just the
original cease and desist order, right?
Yeah, the one that came from the administrative agency. So now what we're into is the actual contesting of this in court.
But either way,
all it really is you've been doing business without
government
seeking the permission of the Crown. I mean, it's not even alleging any particular
criminal act, no money laundering, nothing. Just you're conducting business without the permission of the Crown.
Yep. May it please the Crown, may I do some business?
So, but they legalized being a mammal today.
Wait, what?
Yeah, breastfeeding is now legal in all 50 states, or public breastfeeding. So, I mean, the government, praise the government, because we can now be mammals.
Well, you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I think my brain just melted in my head right then and there. Like, the government decided that we're all ma'am. Well, it wasn't that nice of them. Wasn't that nice of them. But Tom, have they not effectively, they have stopped Genesis Mining from doing business either way, because Genesis Mining, if they were to offer their abilities themselves instead of through this other company, they would effectively become brokers themselves.
Well, then they'd actually be doing a thing. then the inquiry starts afresh. Are you registered to do the thing? Is the thing a thing that needs registering? The problem they're having now is they didn't actually accuse them of doing a thing.
Okay.
Doing a thing where they had a nexus through which they could actually regulate their activity.
Huh.
So they jumped the gun pretty bad here, is what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
To try to put the kibosh on this. Now, they have more substance in here when it comes to Swiss Gold Global, but Genesis Mining, it's a very speculative nexus to any sort of regulated activity that they're alleging here.
Okay.
It'd be more difficult to make their case.
I have a joke for you, Tom.
Oh, no.
What do you get when you cross cryptocurrency with a bank?
Ripple?
$134 million in losses in the first quarter.
That's almost exactly what I was going to say.
Crypto investment bank Digital Galaxy lost $134 million in its first quarter of 2018, largely due to declining, I don't know why my mouth wouldn't do that at first, to declining cryptocurrency prices. The company,
that's what I was thinking as soon as you said that it would only take $200 million to lose $134 million in the first quarter of this disastrous year.
The company announced in a quarterly earnings report this Wednesday. Galaxy Digital, chaired by billionaire investor Michael Novogratz, said that it saw a net unrealized loss of $85.5 million on digital assets and a further $24 million loss on investments, totaling $109.6 million overall in its first quarterly earnings report. The firm also spent $11 million in operating expenses, saw a $13 million loss from its income, resulting in roughly $134 million lost in the first quarter. The company only reported the results between January 1st and March 31st and has yet to reveal what its second quarter looks like. The report confirmed Novogratz plan to complete a merger with Canadian companies First Coin Capital Corp. And Bradmer Pharmaceuticals, Inc. Galaxy Digital is also still undergoing a process to have its shares listed on a Canadian stock exchange. Regulators have issued additional demands for the merger, resulting in a delay in getting its shares listed, says Bloomberg. Despite the delay, Novogratz said in a statement that he was proud of the progress that Galaxy Digital had made so far in 2018 and added, "We've assembled a world-class team with deep institutional knowledge and expertise. We've also made significant strides in scaling our four core businesses line. I have complete confidence in our team's ability to continue driving growth and believe the company is strategically positioned to help further institutionalize the digital asset and blockchain technology industry." Rabble, rabble, rabble. Buzzword, buzzword. Blockchain, buzzword. Technology, buzzword. Industry, buzzword. Profits, buzzword.
Yeah.
The end.
I mean, you would expect financial experts and people who are institutional experts would have looked at the cryptocurrency industry in December of last year and said, you know what, this is probably not the best time to drop $200 million into this, so let's wait.
Right.
Let's wait until it's not peaked at $20,000 for a Bitcoin before we buy $200 million worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. Well, I've come to the conclusion that the best way to know that somebody in the crypto industry is full of crap is when they start like machine gunning the buzzwords. Like if you see
We're going to revolutionize the blockchain on the technology.
with institutional knowledge and expertise and significant strides, scaling, and our business model.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it reads like those promotional white papers that have no tech in them at all. And that's what this sounds like. Oh, digital assets and blockchain technology and industry.
Well, that's what happens when you get people who are trying
institutionalizing.
to sell something instead of people who are trying to create something.
Thank you. Exactly. Thank you. And it's like this hocus pocus. It's like they think that they're
Step right up and get your cure for baldness.
Yeah, they're like reciting magic spells on hocus pocus, Alamazoo, blockchain, institutional knowledge. Bah! Look, we have a brand new baby crypto.
We're just going to rub the urine on your head. And that will fix everything.
And your purse will grow. No. What you do is you take 4 drops of dog urine and you drip them on your keyboard on the L key. And then you launch your miner.
Oh. See, that's what we were doing wrong. We were using cat urine.
No. Cat urine is you put that in your ears before you trade, and it gives you luck. So the crypto spirits, it's the crypto spirits. They influence everything. You just don't see them.
Do they influence the cat when it walks across your keyboard?
Advice. You should do independent research before relying on anything you hear on the Call to Freedom, especially the last 2.5 minutes or so.
And do not put cat urine in your ear.
Yeah. We are not professional voodoo priestesses.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA and testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant's account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A report on obesity rates released this week by the CDC confirmed that millions of courageous Americans continue to overcome the media's persistent pressure to be thin. Researchers told reporters that while the vast majority of film and television continues to portray thin, in-shape people, over 30% of Americans remain resolved in their effort to stand up to idealized images of men and women.
Every day, people are inundated with unvarying images of slim men and women, but millions of heroic Americans continue doing their best every day to maintain BMIs 35 or higher. These people aren't afraid to fly in the face popular culture deems acceptable and bravely eat and drink whatever they want, whenever they want.
In other news, the nation's single men announce a plan to change their bed sheets by 2019. A woman who left the room crying earlier expects to jump back into the party just like that. And a courtroom artist is clearly infatuated with the bailiff. This 2.5-minute long session of immersion therapy is finally complete. Your crippling fear of watching video news recaps should no longer be a problem. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Zencast studio, and it is hour 3 of our drive home broadcast today. And, well, it's a beautiful day here in the Shire. We've been having, we've been having a good time like we always do. And talking about Mitch Stokes, huh? Oh.
We totally dropped the bomb on the benefits of adding dog urine to your Dogecoin mining.
Yeah.
How did we neglect that?
I know. All this time on air, and we've not told you need to put some doggy urine on your Doge miner. It'll triple your yields. Duh. I mean, well, why wouldn't
Common
it?
sense, right?
Yeah, for real. So, Aria, you got something for us over here because we know that Tom hates Nietzsche. So, let's have it. We'll just go ahead and I'll turn it over to you for a minute. Oh, are you not ready yet?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, I read a lot, and I read a lot of Nietzsche because Nietzsche's hard to understand, and you got to read his books like 9 or 10 times before you can have any kind of understanding about them.
Have you watched Bettany Hughes' documentary about him?
I have not. I just found out about it the other day. So
well, I'll fix that because I have it.
Okay. But I was reading Beyond Good and Evil again because it's one of his best works, and he said mutually refraining from injury, violence, and exploitation. Placing your will on par with another's. In a certain crude sense, these practices can become good manners between individuals when the right conditions are present. But as soon as this principle is taken any further, and maybe even held to be the fundamental principle of society, it immediately shows itself for what it is: the will to negate life, the principle of disintegration and decay. In a word, nihilism. And he goes on about that, about how it is life itself is essentially a process of appropriating, injury, overpowering the alien and the weaker, imposing your own form, incorporating, and at the very least, exploiting. Even a body within which treats each other as equal, if the body is living and not dying, it will have to treat other bodies as inferior, and it will have to impose its will on them to grow, spread, grab, and win dominance. Not out of morality or immorality, but because it is alive, because life is precisely will to power. But there is no issue on which the base European consciousness is less willing to be instructed than this. These days, people everywhere are lost in rapturous enthusiasms, even in scientific disguise, about a future state of society where the exploitative character will fall away. To my ears, that sounds as if someone is promising to invent a life that dispenses with all organic functions. Speaking of transhumanism, exploitation does not belong to a corrupted or imperfect primitive society. It belongs to the essence of being alive as a fundamental organic function. It is a result of genuine will to power, which is just the will to life. And I think the critical mistake he makes there, because, I mean, Nietzsche's big thing, his biggest revelation was that the classes as we understand them are not divided among by any sort of financial concern. That we actually have the upper class, which is just the body of society that has the luxury of abiding morality but chooses not to. Then you have the middle class, which abides morality, and the lower class, which does not have the luxury of doing so. So here in America, we don't even have a lower class by those standards, and I think that's right. And the wealth that, you know, the upper class tends to accumulate is a result of their willingness to forego morality. And he's right in the sense that as long as we have that upper class, as long as we have that parasitic body, that caste of people who are willing to violate morality and use aggression against others, it would be nihilistic. It would be self-destructive to forego the use of self-defense. But he's conflating that with violence itself. Basically, he's saying that aggression is the only form of violence. So we do have this group of people who will use violence against others, and they comprise the upper class, the political body, and not using violence out of some misguided sense of morality is self-destructive. But it's because he's not understanding the difference between non-aggression and pacifism. I mean, sure, being a pacifist would be nihilistic because we have this group of people who are trying to kill us and oppress us. But there's nothing pacifistic about non-aggression. It's just not initiating the violence.
Yeah, non-aggression and pacifism are two completely separate things.
Yeah.
Saying I will not aggress against you if you do not aggress against me doesn't also automatically imply, and I also won't aggress against you if you do aggress against me. No, non-aggression is if you don't hit me, I won't hit you. But if you do hit me, you better duck.
Right.
Or run.
And I guess the point he's driving at is that, you know, the morality or the moral statement is that violence is morally bad. And I mean, the initiation of violence would be morally bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't that what the non-aggression principle states?
But the idea of libertarianism or the non-aggression principle is not to have this divide of people who don't have the luxury of morality and people who don't abide morality. It's to lift everyone up so that they do have the luxury. It's to utterly destroy the lower class by spreading the wealth through the processes of commerce and capitalism. But to hold everyone to a moral standard.
You said the dirty C words.
In which we don't have this caste of people who inflict violence upon one another and inflict violence upon the middle class. So I think there's just a lot of mistakes he made in that passage.
Tom. Is Tom even here?
Yeah, I'm here.
We mentioned Nietzsche, and I didn't hear his head explode, so I thought maybe he had died or logged off.
That's because I keep the mic muted so that if my head does explode, it doesn't get all over the radio.
Well, that's no fun.
I just don't have anything really to say about Nietzsche because...
Nothing good, at least.
Nothing good.
Why
if
not?
You can't say anything good. You might as well not say anything.
Why not? What is your issue with Nietzsche?
His whole thing about... I mean, he's just too Machiavellian for me.
Oh no! See, that's a gross misunderstanding. That's people who didn't understand what he was saying, or people who just take his word as indisputable fact and irrefutable, that have twisted that into that. But if Nietzsche lived today, he would be an anarcho-capitalist 100%, because we have had the difference between non-aggression and violence explained since the 1860s. We did have this libertarian growth, the Austrian economists, and the rise of the Libertarian Party spreading non-aggression and things like that. And economic Darwinism, which we would call capitalism. And Nietzsche was a Darwinist in every aspect of society. I mean, that's what he's arguing here, is that we have these powerful people, and the only way to respond to them that isn't nihilistic is with power.
All right. Well, when we get back here in just a little while, we're going to be talking about the use of circular logic and how to drive an atheist crazy. When we get back here on the Crawl to Freedom, here on LRN.FM.
If my words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the...
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Free Talk Live.
I don't care what they wrote down on pieces of paper. The fact is, this government exists through consent. It exists through mass consent because people believe in it. It's a cult. People believe in the idea that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as they have a good reason for it. They believe that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as a majority of people walking into some booth check a box somewhere.
People spend more time thinking about the government and pledging allegiance to the flag than they do. Many people spend more time pledging allegiance to the flag than they do praying to their God. Their religion is this government.
It's actually, if you believe in like the Christian religion and all that, putting other gods above your God is usually a pretty bad thing.
Yeah, to me, the Pledge of Allegiance is simply a prayer to the God of the government.
It's essentially religious indoctrination for the state.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live here from the Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And, we are moving right along here. We want to make sure we can get all of this in before the end of today's broadcast. So I want to go ahead and I found this quite entertaining, and when I played it, when I saw it the first, that's about 4 minutes. But when I saw it the first time, it just made me kind of laugh because I was sitting here listening to it, and Aria was sitting across the table from me, and I was like, whenever we have talks, I never use circular reasoning like this, but doing this would make me crazy if I saw a theist try to defend religion in this manner. It would make me insane. And if this is what people do to atheists, then no wonder you guys want to bash theists over the head with a brick sometimes.
And then you have to ask why. What's the reason for that statement? So if you say, I believe in Islam, it's very, they have every right to say, why do you believe in Islam? It's a revelation. How do you know? Because the Quran says so. Well, how do you know that the Quran is true? Because it's from God. Well, how do you know? Because it's a revelation. Well, how do you know that? Because God said so. Where did he say that? In the Quran. You know, that drives atheists crazy. That's called circular reasoning. You're not. Now, if you say the Quran is a miracle, and if you'd give me 20 years to study and master Arabic, I can prove it. And you could, really. But you'd have to take my word. Now you're in taqleed. You know, Al-Baqallani proved it. It's called I'jaz al-Quran. He proved that the Quran is a miracle in terms of its language. He showed how every single Jahili poet has lousy lines. Even the best of them. They just have bad lines. But he showed how rhetorically, by the standards of rhetoric, he said that you cannot find any way to improve on making a statement in the Quran. There's nothing, he said, that you could rhetorically tweak. You know, editing, if you've ever done editing, you can always make something better. But at a certain point, you can't say it better. There are certain things you cannot say them better than the way they've been said. Right? To be or not to be. You're not going to improve on that. It's just you're not going to improve on that. To be or not to be, that is the question. You're not going to improve on that. Like, should I exist or shouldn't I exist? Should I commit suicide or shouldn't I commit suicide? Right? I mean, there's other ways to say what he was saying. But as far as the English language goes, you're not going to improve on that. Love is not love that alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. You're not going to improve on that. I don't think if you sat there, love is not love that alters when it alteration finds. you can't, it doesn't sound better to say, it's not really love if it changes when the one you love changes. Same meaning, it's just, it's not the same, right? And so he showed that, but that takes a long time to learn that, you know? So how do we prove to somebody who is not, why we should believe in, well, it depends on who you're talking to. If they're an atheist, then you really have to take that argument first and foremost. Without revelation, you have to take it to a rational level of talking about whether it's rational to believe that there's not an intelligent force behind creation. The idea that this just popped into existence from nothing. If they're Abrahamic, then you would have to argue what the Bible says, like the Old Testament, because they believe in the Bible. So there's a starting point. The Bible says that in the Old Testament, it says the difference between a true prophet and a false prophet. If what the prophet says comes true, then he's a true prophet. If what he says does not, then he's a false prophet. So we have plenty of evidence to show that our Prophet ﷺ prophesied things that were impossible to know in the 7th century and have come true. Many things. So,
all right, Arya. You had an interjection?
I did. Well, he said, you know, the atheist contends that all of this just popped in, or it's not rational to believe that all of this popped out of nothing. And I would agree, because the rational and scientific position is based on Newton and the idea that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed, which our universe, being a collection of matter and energy, necessarily follows that it could not have been created or destroyed. So before anyone can say whether or not it's rational or irrational to believe in a deity, they must first prove that the universe could have been created, that matter and energy could have been created. And as far as I know, no one has ever demonstrated that. No one has ever proven that Newton is wrong. As soon as they do, then they can say, okay, well, the universe was certainly created, or the universe could have been created. But at the time of right now, knowledge as we understand it, the most rational position is to believe that matter and energy cannot be created, which includes the entirety of the universe as being nothing more than a collection of matter and energy.
Okay.
So talking about creators and all that is kind of a loaded term. This universe could be the result of a cycle that we do not understand, but the most rational belief is that the universe is eternal and has always existed. Because otherwise you have to believe that the universe did not always exist and was created or came into being through some mechanism that we don't understand. And, you know, that violates Newton's most basic laws, that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed.
That is a Eastern thought.
It is.
View, actually.
It is. There are a lot of similarities between Eastern religions and what physics is beginning to say, not to the extent that some people put the woo on it and release books like the Dancing Woo-Lee Masters and that kind of crap. They twist physics to say things that it isn't actually saying. But there is a lot of similarities between core scientific concepts as we understand them, particularly quantum mechanics, and Eastern traditions of theology.
All right. Well, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, we'll continue on with our discussion here of, discussing. I mean, really, that's kind of what the discussion is about having these conversations and doing it without the usage of the sort of circular logic, which I'm telling you, if somebody sat down and I tried to have a conversation with me about like that, I would want to hit him over the head with something as well. Like within 5 minutes, I'd just be so frustrated. Like I wish you didn't share my oxygen.
Oh, it's all we get.
Oh, good Lord. Tom, we got to teach our people to be better.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from
I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the final half of our last hour of the Call to Freedom here on this Thursday live drive home edition. And we've been talking about circular logic. We started out with a discussion of Nietzsche and how, well, he had this idea that somehow pacifism and non-aggression are the same thing. And then we moved on to Again, man, you know what, Aria, I'm sorry if that is what you get on a regular basis, but
I've never gotten it from a Muslim.
I myself would want to put my own head through a wall if somebody used that with me.
I mean
that's what it sounded to me like, was a caricature.
Oh no. Not at all. I wish it was a caricature. But that's generally how the conversations play out. People say, well, how come you don't believe in a God? Oh, well, you give them your reasons or whatever. And they say, well, you don't feel it? No. Well, what about this? The Bible says this. Okay, but why do you believe the Bible? Well, because I feel it. And you end up right back into that circular reasoning. If it's not circular reasoning, then they're throwing this insane proof that there is a God at you. Whenever somebody says that, it's just a matter of finding the misstep in their logic. But that's generally what they do, is rely upon circular reasoning when attempting to reach atheists.
Yeah.
That's clearly not going to work.
No, it does not.
But I mean, personally, there's so much belief is so important to Christianity.
Yeah, it comes back to
that
faith. Some people have it and some people don't.
That there's not a lot of point in trying to logic someone into believing what we believe. So I usually try to get to know people, because if there's going to be an opening for me as a Christian to witness to somebody, it's by knowing them as individuals.
Well, isn't that exactly what the guy we were just listening to said as well? You have to get to know the atheist and personalize the message for them.
Exactly. You need to know the person you're talking to. They used to come. This was one of my favorites. They have they have this group called the Campus Crusaders for Christ, and they have these. Tom, oh Lord, they have the cheat sheets. There's like these little index cards that they carry around with themselves, and they have Witness Day, where what they do is they go around and harass people on campus while they're trying to have their lunch or study about.
Surely an effective tactic.
Yeah, and they came up to me, and I love this kind of stuff, So they were like, "So would you like to have a talk about Jesus?" And I was like, "Sure, sit on down. Let's have a talk."
I was like that when I first became an atheist, but eventually I just got tired of it.
My favorite part was they were trying to teach me about my religion. And what ended up happening was I was quoting their own scriptures to them faster than they could look them up. And they just progressively went higher up the food chain till they ended up with the faculty advisor. And they're like, "Please come and sit, because he's put all of us out to pasture. Could you please come have a sit?"
And did one of them, my question is, did one of them ever come up to you and start a conversation with, "How are you today, Will? How's your mom? How's your family?
Of course
how
not.
are you? No. How are you doing?"
You know who
as
did?
An individual.
We had people. We used to do this thing, and we're actually going to try to recreate it here in Keene at Keene State College, and maybe at a couple of other colleges around the area. We called it Learning on the Lawns, and what we did was we took the old school street preacher idea, like with the big sign, "Let's go be a jerk and yell at people and accost people on the side of the road," right? Well, we thought, well, what if you took you took that, but you crossed it with like the Sermon on the Mount, and actually, I don't know, tried to do it the way Jesus did, and just talk to people. And if you want to come up and listen, then you do, and if you don't, well, then just mosey on by and leave us alone. And that turned into relationships like what you're talking about. Because
one of the interesting things that Tom just said about people approaching you as individuals is that every single time I've been approached by a Christian, because I'm from Mississippi, so it happened with a lot of regularity.
Yeah,
it was because I'm so distinctly individualistic. Because I was wearing black shirts and trip pants with black eyeliner, and and it seems like they almost have this unconscious desire to stomp that out of a person. Rather than
I don't know if it's necessarily stomp it out. And that's not, I can't speak to individuals' efforts, but there is sort of a desire to get to be, when you're really white bread yourself, or when your church is really white bread, you want to add some different looking people to the flock. And you don't, and people who do that misunderstand that it's not just different looking, they're different individuals. But the other thing they do is if you completely miss opportunities to witness to people who look completely normal but still might have like way worse things going on in their lives that they need help with, or that they need a friend. And that's why, think about the absolute most vocal atheist writers and theologians that you can think of, and think about exactly how plain looking they were. Richard Dawkins, super white bread looking dude. Christopher Hitchens, super white bread looking dude.
Stephen Fry.
Hawking, you know, before his disease progressed, super white bread looking dude. Those people never get the sort of hardcore witnessing that odd looking folk like you and Will would. It's a pretty major weakness in the way that Christians view people. And it's not just Christians, it's everybody. But
I mean, that's true, but based on my experience with churches in the South, I mean, it seems like we're dealing with two distinctly different sets of humans, or Christians. Some who recognize the individuality as something to be celebrated and embraced, and some who want to have churches like Mount Zion Baptist Church where everybody has to be exactly the same.
Yeah. There's 4 colors of flannel shirt you're allowed to wear. There's 2, you know. Yeah, exactly. I grew up in churches like that.
And that's certainly kind of fallen out of favor with the trendier church now.
Yeah, the Pentecostals, the really hardcore apostolics, they still have like the uniform. You know, like you do wear this, you don't wear that. You do your hair like this. Like they all have the same 4 hairstyles, you know, and that's it's a forced hegemony that's purposeful. It makes you stand out from you and me.
That's true.
You and me are...
Which immediately makes you self-conscious and on the defensive and more susceptible to the message, I would imagine.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, it'll be time for America's only source for cannabis news here. That's right. The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. You got to be kidding me that I can't believe that I did that.
What did you do?
I accidentally closed the list of our bumpers to go out because I'm retarded.
Don't bogart that joint, my friend.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे.
Let's focus our discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
All right, it's time for the final segment of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, your only libertarian home for cannabis news. Here on the Call to Freedom, I've got something for you guys here. It is an update on the latest of medical research out just this year. Just new medical research that's being worked on or completed just this year. Let's see here. Through the pace of cannabis research continues to escalate as we've hit midway through 2018. And perhaps unsurprisingly, CBD continues to be a hot topic in medicine. These are 5 new medical research studies from the last quarter that made particularly important strides.
Can you email the article to the VA?
Right.
Because they seem to be lacking research.
CBD treats brain changes caused by regular cannabis use. Regular THC-rich cannabis use can change the way the brain functions. These changes are not always for the better, and they often involve changes to a particular brain region known as the hippocampus. The hippocampus is involved in many brain functions, including cognitive performance,
short-term memory,
control over anxiety, and resilience to stressors. Studies that have imaged the brain by MRI have revealed that regular THC-rich cannabis use alters the structure of the hippocampus. However, it's becoming increasingly appreciated that CBD can protect the brain against THC's effects, and therefore may serve as a protective tool to prevent THC-induced changes or to help the brain recover from them. Neuroscientists in Australia tested whether CBD affected the hippocampus anatomy in regular cannabis consumers. As expected, parts of the hippocampus were smaller than those of cannabis abstinent subjects, but after 10 weeks of CBD treatments, they showed markedly increase in size. Furthermore, those who had more CBD in their plasma at the end of 10 weeks had greater brain changes. Another one is that transdermal CBD is the use of transdermal CBD for the treatment of non-opioid addictions. CBD-rich cannabis has emerged as a promising strategy to combat opioid addiction. However, it's unclear if CBD's anti-addiction abilities extend beyond opioids to other drugs of abuse. In a recent study, scientists investigated CBD's ability to protect against factors that promote relapse to alcohol and cocaine use. Several factors promote relapse to drug seeking, including heightened impulsive behavior and a profound withdrawal symptoms like anxiety. Since CBD and death, sometimes. Since CBD, I'm funny that they didn't mention that as one of the profound with anxiety is your profound hallucinations, body sweats, nausea, uncontrollable vomiting, anal leakage, uncontrollable diarrhea, death. None of these were profound withdrawal symptoms. Anxiety is a profound withdrawal system.
What substance causes anxiety upon withdrawal?
All of them.
Well, I know they cause the brain to fixate on the drug and things like that, but I'm talking actual anxiety.
All of them.
Trust me.
All of them. Some of them cause like hallucinations.
But see, that's not anxiety. That's hallucinations.
Which cause anxiety.
Well, I'm sure hallucinating does in fact cause
anxiety.
Yeah. But that's the fault of the hallucination rather than the chemical withdrawal.
No, it's it's the withdrawal itself
that's causing one. That's causing the it's all connected.
And you got to remember how many different substances are, treating anxiety such that you get a rebound effect when they go away. So that's where the withdrawal ends up causing anxiety. And of course, I've been there. For anyone who's missed the memo. Oh yeah, last weekend. That was a year for me. Lest we go without mentioning it. I don't know if we mentioned it on Monday.
I don't think we did.
Yep.
We mentioned that it was coming, and now we've mentioned that it passed, but we missed the day that we should have mentioned that it was here.
Well, that's the story of my life on
right.
that show.
Another study has shown that plant-derived cannabinoids improve the efficacy of cancer treatment. Cannabinoid-based cancer treatments just got a supportive boost. One of the limitations in cannabis cancer research fields is that most studies have been conducted on cultured cells, not on live rodents or humans. A recent study investigated the effects of cannabinoids on cancerous pancreatic and lung growth tumors in animals and animal survival in mice. They sought to answer whether cannabinoids affected the effectiveness of the traditional radiation treatment strategy and identify delivery methods that could optimize cannabinoids' anti-tumor properties. Scientists use a novel drug delivery mechanism that slowly releases the cannabinoids into the body, which increases the amount of time they come into contact with the tumor cells. Mice treated with radiation therapy or slowly released cannabinoids had better overall survival than untreated animals, but those who received both forms of treatment had the best outcomes. Mice that received a combination of cannabinoids and radiation therapy had smaller tumors and better survival rates than untreated animals or those who only received one form of treatment or the other. The scientists also found that animals had better outcomes when administered with a slow-release technique as opposed to being injected directly into the tumor itself. These findings from live animals suggest that cannabinoids have promising abilities to enhance the efficacy of traditional anti-cancer treatment strategies, and these effects can be improved through emerging techniques that slowly release cannabinoids into the body. Another is that CBD's fast-acting, long-lasting antidepressant effects have been shown in rodents. These antidepressant qualities were observed after a single dose of CBD, and they persisted for at least 7 days after each treatment. It's estimated 20% of the global population is affected by clinical depression. Yet current pharmacological treatment approaches for depression remain suboptimal. Nearly a third of patients don't respond to treatment. If they do, it takes weeks before therapeutic effects are felt, and sometimes they take rifles and shoot up high schools or daycare centers.
Everybody's attention.
Well, now they think CBD could be an answer. Not the answer, but an answer. Antidepressant quality shown in mice, again, lasting for 7 days. And it took only a single dose.
How do they know whether or not a mouse is depressed? I really need to know the answer to that.
Says
they ask it. Duh. We just talked about compassion in the last segment.
CBD reduced behaviors associated with depression across a range of behavioral tests in different strains of mice or rats, some of which were considered, quote, depression prone. I'm sure animals have different chemical issues in their brains like humans do.
I'm sure they do too.
And I'm sure they have certain characteristic behaviors of depression, and they said, okay, so these mice have all those characteristics, and we gave them CBD, and now they don't act like that anymore. They act happy.
Well, more often than not,
they're not high,
the depression
but they're
of
happy.
animals is going to be caused by the treatment and the cage that they're in.
Right. Give them some CBD, they won't care about the cage.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's not really treating their depression as much as it is just making them forget about how much it sucks to be in a cage.
Right. Cannabis-based pharmaceuticals improve the symptoms of multiple sclerosis. What do you mean? Like, this is something we already knew. Why are we testing things we already know? What's his name? The guy on TV, black guy, mustache, bald head, Montel Jordan.
Steve Harvey?
No, Montel Jordan. Steve Harvey. Okay, that's not on TV, but used to be on TV in the. No, Montel Jordan's still on the TV.
Montel Williams?
There you go, Montel Williams, not Montel Jordan. Montel Jordan was a '90s R&B artist. Never mind. Montel Williams. Montel Williams has been talking about how he's been treating his MS with cannabis for over a decade. They've been prescribing it for MS for over a decade. Why are we doing tests on things we already know this stuff works on? This is retarded.
I don't know.
I think it's
I've
retarded.
asked the same
Why?
question, you know.
Why are we? It's like, so let's see.
I mean, we did the same thing with psilocybin and MDMA. We both know that. I mean, we all know that they treat certain things, but we just keep
let's test it
testing
over and
them
over and over again until the government finally realizes that you know, doctors know more than they do. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow with our Friday afternoon edition of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. But don't go anywhere right now. Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's